Golden State Valkyries got against the Fever, but I don't know what it is. I believe it's Stephanie White play calling, the way she's orchestrating her offense, and defensively, they just can't do nothing at all. I get why she do certain schemes defensively, but at some point you have to talk to Breanna in January like, hey, look here, player, this ain't working. And that's exactly what she need to do. Now, with that being said, we have Sophie Cunningham exposing major news about WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert possibly
the ultimate breaking point. The music absolute catastrophic collapse of the Indiana Fever coaching staff is unfolding right before our eyes, and the details leaking out of the locker room are going to leave you completely speechless. We are witnessing the most explosive, unprecedented scandal in WNBA history, and it all centers around one sick, twisted attempt to destroy the face of basketball. For weeks, fans have suspected that head coach Stephanie White had a hidden agenda against Caitlin Clark. We saw the terrible play calls. We saw the deliberate freeze-outs. We saw a generational talent being forced to stand in the corner while veteran players bricked shot after shot. But nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, could have predicted the jaw-dropping lengths Stephanie White would go to just to protect her own fragile ego. According to shocking new leaks, Stephanie White didn't just want to bench Caitlin Clark. She actually tried to suspend her. Yes, you heard that correctly. Coach White actively plotted to suspend the single greatest rookie the league has ever seen. But she made one fatal mistake. She pushed Caitlin too far. And now, Caitlin Clark has delivered a brutal final statement that has completely destroyed Stephanie White's career. And if that wasn't enough, WNBA legend Breanna Stewart just broke the internet by stepping in and exposing this entire disaster on live television. Do not dare skip a single second of this video because the mainstream media is completely terrified to tell you the real truth about what is happening behind closed doors. The only place that gives you the raw, unfiltered truth. Hit that subscribe button right now because the WNBA is in total crisis, and we are breaking down every explosive detail. To understand how we reached this point of absolute madness, you have to look at the disaster that took place against the Dallas Wings. This wasn't just a regular loss. It was a brutal, boring, unwatchable train wreck of a basketball game that completely exposed Stephanie White as a tactical fraud.
I watched it from the fourth quarter.
Sure. So from what you watched, what did you see about what the Wings did when it comes to being able to stop the people? Like, did that teach you anything about what you
He said,
I think Dallas had obviously a really solid game plan. They played well against Indy for the whole season, right? Like, they won the series, Dallas. That's what they said on TV. Please check me out. But I think what they did well defensively was they limited them to one shot, you know? When the ball went up, they made sure that there was a contest high hand and then went after. A walk had an amazing game, obviously being a huge rim protector. So we need that kind of presence and, knowing that there's different people on the floor and you have to guard them like at different lengths. Some you have to be tight, some you have to be off.
Did you watch the Wings game last night?
She said it was the defense that pretty much did that to the Fever. Now, Breanna Stewart is one that has not shied away from unloading on the Indiana Fever. Now, with that being said, moving on to the next part of the video, we have to talk about this Kathy Engelbert situation. I believe this story is bigger than a lot of people think it is.
Paid thousands of dollars to fill the arena, expecting to see the high-octane logo shooting magic of Caitlin Clark. Instead, Stephanie White forced the team to play the most sluggish, outdated, and agonizing style of basketball imaginable. She deliberately took the ball out of Caitlin's hands. She refused to run the pick and roll. She allowed the Wings defense to double-team Caitlin for the entire game without making a single adjustment to help her rookie star. The result? The Fever were completely cooked. They were embarrassed on national television. It was a coaching disaster of epic proportions, and the fans let Stephanie White hear it. The arena music was booing the coaching staff. Social media was completely on fire, with millions of fans demanding that White be fired on the spot. The hashtag Fire Stephanie White was trending worldwide before the fourth quarter had even finished. Stephanie White was backed into a corner. She knew her job was on the line. She knew the entire basketball world was calling her out for her jealousy and incompetence. So what did she do? Instead of taking accountability like a real leader, she tried to orchestrate the most sinister, cowardly cover-up in sports history. She tried to make Caitlin Clark the scapegoat. According to explosive locker room leaks, after the brutal loss to the Wings, Stephanie White completely lost her mind behind closed doors. She tried to blame the loss on Caitlin's lack of execution. She accused Caitlin of being insubordinate. And then came the moment that made the entire front office freeze in sheer panic. Stephanie White allegedly went to upper management and demanded that Caitlin Clark be suspended for detrimental conduct. Let that sink in. The coach who drew up a terrible game plan. The coach who deliberately sabotaged her own team's offense tried to suspend the player who is literally keeping the WNBA relevant. White thought she could use her authority to silence Caitlin. She thought she could manipulate the narrative and force the rookie into submission. But Stephanie White's master plan blew up in her face in the most spectacular way possible. Because the moment rumors of this suspension leaked out to the rest of the league, the entire basketball world erupted in pure, unadulterated outrage.
Last night was in the top 3 hardest games to watch of the season. It was brutal. God dog, last night was boring. In fact, I said last night during the watch party that only the WNBA could have a battle between what's supposed to be 2 of their top 5 biggest stars, Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark. Only in the W could the WNBA figure out how to take a game like that, make it close for most of the game, and it be boring as hell. That's some W shit. That happens a lot in this league. A lot in this league. Vanderbilt fever. Caitlin White literally got tackled. Stephanie White just sits there with her arms crossed, sniffing and twitching. Congratulations, Stephanie Weatherspoon. Oh, damn. Shout out to Teresa Weatherspoon. Whoa. Lethargic performance. That's on the coach. I mean, that's just all there is to it. Stephanie White, rhythm-killing circle the wagons offense. God. Just make one more pass. I dare you. Make one more pass. You all need a new coach, just saying. You simply can't just drive to the hoop every offensive play.
That is when the unthinkable happened. Breanna Stewart, a multi-time champion and MVP and one of the most respected voices in the entire sport, decided she had seen enough. Stewart is usually quiet when it comes to other teams' locker room drama, but this level of coaching malpractice was so toxic, so undeniably disgusting, that she could not stay silent. Breanna Stewart absolutely broke the internet. In a shocking, unfiltered moment, Stewart addressed the situation and completely destroyed Stephanie White's credibility. Stewart didn't hold back. She pointed directly to the disaster against the Dallas Wings and called it exactly what it was. Stewart reportedly said, "What we are watching happening in Indiana is an absolute disaster. You do not punish a generational talent for your own failure to adapt. You do not threaten to suspend a player who is bringing millions of new eyes to our game just because your ego is bruised. It is a disgrace to the game of basketball." The internet completely exploded. Stewart's words validated everything the fans had been screaming about for weeks. To have an active legend like Breanna Stewart openly humiliate Stephanie White and call her coaching a disaster was the ultimate death blow. It proved that the entire league knows exactly what Stephanie White is doing. It proved that this isn't just a crazy fan conspiracy. It is real, it is malicious, and it is destroying the Indiana fever from the inside out. The front office immediately panicked. With Breanna Stewart going viral and exposing the truth, the Fever executives knew they could not follow through with Stephanie White's insane demand for a suspension. The backlash would have destroyed the franchise forever. The fans were literally ready to riot in the streets of Indianapolis. The sponsors would have pulled their funding. The league would have stepped in. Stephanie White was suddenly completely powerless. Her ultimate weapon had been stripped away. She was caught red-handed trying to ruin a superstar, and the entire world was watching her drown.
Out to Patrick Benedavid because he spoke a lot and reacted to what Sophie Cunningham said about Kathy Future in the league. Let's listen to
Sophie
Patrick.
Cunningham hints at WNBA commissioner shakeup as she goes after Kathy Engelbert. I do feel like as a whole, that could be a position that's maybe open at the end of the year. What are you talking about?
Boom, told you.
That means the commissioner positions may be open at the end of the year. She added, Kathy Engelberg's done a lot of good things, but with where our league is trying to go, I feel like you just want someone who also wants that. That's up to the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, at the end of the day. Sophie Cunningham is calling out directly saying, Adam, at the end of the day, you're the top brass. You got to make a decision.
I was thinking about this the other day, and it's almost as if this was a plan, Tom, like an attempt to bring some attention to a sport. Yes, they're making the money, but it's just unwatchable. Look at the attention, guys. This is, I think, what, the fourth week. We're talking about it. We have so many issues that we talk about. They're bringing this, they're doing that, transgenders this, all this type of situation.
Yeah.
I think this might be a real, purposeful ploy to bring people and eyeballs and everything. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they actually let some biological men come on that court, because at least it would make it watchable. I tried, I'm not even joking, I tried to watch a couple of minutes, and just watching, what's her name? Reese? What's her name?
Angel Reese.
Angel Reese laying, it's
Some
such...
people called her, she's good. She's like the Jordan of...
yeah, the Jordan. I think it was Ari Spears. He said something like she looked like a baby giraffe trying to stand. Like, you know, they can't even move. I think it's just all a ploy because it's unwatchable. But it's like the attention that they're trying to get is unbelievable. But I respect Sophie Cunningham because, Tom, what's the word that you said?
Authentic and fair.
And there's two words, too. I'm going to add on top of that. Common sense.
The final nail in the coffin didn't come from Breanna Stewart, and it didn't come from the angry fans. The final devastating blow came from Caitlin Clark herself. For weeks, Caitlin had played the good soldier. She had taken the high road in press conferences. She had ignored the passive-aggressive comments from her coach. But after finding out that Stephanie White actively tried to have her suspended, that was the final straw. The gloves were officially off. Caitlin Clark did not wait for a PR-approved press release. She did not hide behind her agent. She stepped directly in front of the cameras, looked dead into the lenses, and delivered a final statement that was so cold, so calculated, and so undeniably brilliant that it effectively ended Stephanie White's tenure in Indiana. With ice in her veins, Caitlin said, "I came to this league to elevate the game. I put in the work every single day, and I expect the people leading this team to have that exact same commitment to winning. But when the focus shifts from winning basketball games to playing locker room politics, we have a fatal problem. You can try to silence me. You can try to blame me for a system that is fundamentally broken. But the film does not lie. The fans are not blind. I am here to play basketball. And if the current leadership is threatened by that, then they are standing in the wrong arena." Boom. The microphone was completely dropped. It was a brutal, masterful execution on live television.
Lane right here. So there's an inside lane right here. Caitlin Clark is about to hit this lane. Stephanie White knows it. Boom, lane. Now, Caitlin Clark did get the shot block, but I believe she was fouled on that play. But it's plays like that, and then it's situations like this that I believe Caitlin Clark is subliminally telling us she do not like Stephanie White. I don't give a damn what no one says. What no one says, bro. She ain't rocking with her, dog. Now, Kelsey Mitchell and Stephanie White was all laughs after a loss today. It was all smiles in the presser. They trying to like not be mad, but they mad. Now, I'm not finna play this whole press conference. We're gonna watch some of it. Shout out to Tony Eastman. If you guys ain't subscribed to his channel, make sure you guys going on over there and show that brother some love. We finna listen to some of this, and we're gonna dissect it. We're not gonna play the whole 9 minutes.
Kelsey, obviously.
So y'all see smiles, smiling faces. Lexi even smiling. Everybody smiling. Why are we smiling right now? What is it to be happy about? Why we happy? Y'all just lost to one of the worst teams in the league. But we smiling.
Kelsey, obviously, not result you all wanted, but personally set the record for 2 consecutive games tonight. Let's go through your last couple of days that have been kind of, up and down after Toronto, and then what's it mean to second that?
I think that it's a part of the game. So for one, I just want to, congratulate my team for making me look good. But I think ultimately it just
all smiles, thanking her team for making her look good because the offenses ran through who? Kelsey.
Wynn didn't scream. She didn't use profanity. She used cold, hard facts to expose the hidden agenda by saying the film does not lie. She directed everyone's attention straight back to the disaster against the Wings. She dared the front office to watch the tape. She dared them to choose between a failed, jealous coach and the future of the WNBA. This was not just a statement. It was an ultimatum. It was Caitlin Clark looking at the Indiana Fever owners and saying, "It is her or it is me." The fallout has been absolutely catastrophic for Stephanie White. Sources inside the building say the locker room has completely turned on her. The veteran players who were originally on her side have backed away, terrified of the PR nightmare that White has created. The front office is reportedly drafting her termination papers right now. You cannot survive a public humiliation of this magnitude. You cannot survive Breanna Stewart calling you a disaster. And you certainly cannot survive Caitlin Clark completely exposing your sabotage on national television. Stephanie White's legacy is officially ruined. She will not be remembered as a tactical genius. She will be remembered as the incredibly bitter, jealous coach who tried to suspend Caitlin Clark out of pure spite and got brutally exposed for it.
I think this is all a ploy because it's unwatchable. But it's like the attention that they're trying to get is unbelievable. But I respect Sophie Cunningham because, Tom, what's the word that you said?
Authentic and fair.
And there's two words, too, I'm going to add on top of that. Common sense.
Ooh. That was Patrick Ben-David. Now, this is what Fox is saying.
Silence for advocating for women's sports. Furthermore, the WNBA and its partners may have exposed themselves to a legal liability by censoring fans' viewpoints. Your first reaction to this, Kaylee?
Well, I think they're absolutely right. You know, to Sophie's point about the lack of leadership in the league right now, it really seems like leadership in the league, whether it's Engelbert or other officials involved, are too cowardly to take out their frustration with Sophie directly. So they're taking out their frustrations on her fans instead, whether that's making them cover up their XXXY shirts or making them take down posters in support of Sophie Cunningham at some of these games. It's completely inappropriate because theirs are the only viewpoints that are being silenced by the league right now. And, you know, I hope that the lesson that some of the other WNBA players or even female athletes in general take from this entire saga and from Sophie's example is that there's no point in trying to be neutral on this issue. We think about Caitlin Clark. Look, I get it. She doesn't want to wade into what she believes is a cultural debate. She wants to focus on playing the game instead. But has that made the players who directly target her every single time that she enters the court, has that made them any more nice to her on the court? Has that made her be targeted even less? Has it made the league officials more willing to publicly defend her? No, she's still getting the exact same treatment as before. So you might as well find the courage of conviction here and do the right thing.
Yeah, and look, I know it Independent Women features your leadership, and I'm wondering if there are other women across the country and consortiums like that who are ready to come out and join Sophie Cunningham very publicly. Your last quick thought, we'll move forward.
Yeah, I mean, female athletes are involved in this debate whether they want to be or not, because the central question is whether we as women have the right to our own distinct spaces in sports teams. So good for Sophie for speaking up, and I hope others will join her.
And the irony of that.
WNBA is shaking right now, and the drama is far from over. Now, I want to hear from every single one of you watching this video. Go absolutely crazy in the comments section right now. Do you think Stephanie White should be fired immediately for trying to suspend Caitlin Clark? What did you think about Breanna Stewart breaking the internet and defending Caitlin? And how savage was Caitlin's final statement? Let your voices be heard down below, because the entire league is watching how the fans react to this. If you want the real, uncensored coverage of everything happening with Caitlin Clark, you need to smash that like button and subscribe to Clark Fever Hoops right now. Turn on those notifications because